just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here, cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA. There's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the
We're deeply honored to have been selected by the Freedom Flag Foundation to be the first and only school representing Ohio in its mission to educate new and future generations to ensure that we never forget. We thank our friends at the American Legion Auxiliary Unit 214 for nominating us to be selected for the Freedom Flag Foundation. Our partnership with the Auxiliary has been long-standing and greatly enriches the lives not only of the veterans that you serve, but all of the individuals that we serve here at the Lake County Board of Developmental Disabilities. We also commend the Freedom Foundation for promoting diversity and inclusion as a hallmark of their educational mission. And as you've just witnessed, we at Broadmoor are proud to be Americans. The students and adults who are part of our Lake County Board of Developmental Disabilities and Deepwood family, we are all proud to be Americans. I'm going to be joined now by one of our newer family members. I'm happy to introduce Tanisha Carlgren. She is a passionate advocate for inclusion and anti-bullying, as well as holding a very impressive title as 2021's Ohio Miss Amazing Senior Miss Queen. Tanisha's lovely voice will now lead us in our National Anthem. Please stand.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we walk, we're so gallantly streaming in the rocket's ringlet, the balls bursting in air, gave proof for the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please remain standing and join Tanisha and me in the pledge, our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm honored now to introduce another member of our Deepwood family who served our country in the U.S. Navy and then continued a lifetime of service to his community and his profession as a highly respected member of the judiciary, a dedicated volunteer and advocate for individuals with developmental disabilities. A true example of service above self, Board President, the Honorable Judge Larry Allen.
Good morning, all. It's a great pleasure for me to welcome you all here on behalf of the Deepwood Board of Directors. There's many of them in the audience there this morning. We're especially honored to have Broadmoor chosen to represent Ohio in the Freedom Flag Foundation continuing celebration. We're especially proud of our Broadmoor principal, Linda Derosa, and her wonderful staff who have put this together, and I think that you will find today's presentation to be innovative, to be informative, and exciting. I also have the pleasure of introducing some of our fine elected state and county officials to you this morning, some of whom will be giving us some remarks. And so without any delay, I would like to introduce to you Senator Kenny Yuko, a good friend of the developmental disability world. Kenny.
Thank you, Your Honor, and good morning, everybody. You know, it's been a tough weekend for a lot of people, and I used that time to reflect on what it meant to me personally, because I'm of a different generation, I guess. I was born in 1950, right after World War II. I realized what after Pearl Harbor, what it meant to our country. I remember my mom telling me stories about her younger brother lying about his age so he can try to get and serve in the military like his older brothers were doing. He lied about his age. He couldn't get into the Army. He couldn't get into the Navy. He couldn't get into Marines, but he did get into the Merchant Marines. And unfortunately, he's left somewhere in the Pacific when his boat was bombed. So we never got to see him again. But it brought the nation together post-World War II. We all knew our neighbors. We didn't lock our doors. We all flew the American flag on our homes, not just on holidays, but virtually every single day. I've got fond memories of my neighbor Joe, living next door to me on Tracy Avenue in Euclid, Ohio, who every morning would wake up and unroll the flag on the post and put it on his flag holder in front of his house. stand back and salute. And every evening he did the same as he took it down every single night. That meant an awful lot to me. After September 12th, I saw how our nation came together. It came together like I haven't seen since World War II ended. And it was a wonderful thing. People were not worried about politics. They weren't just worried about what you were Republican or if you were Democrat, if you were rich or you were poor, whether you lived in this city or that city. We were all one. We were all Americans. And it meant so much. We need to bring that back, folks. We need to bring back that. Let's bring back that Americanism that held this country together like glue for so many years. You know, when I think about how we started 1776 to where we've come to today, and the wonderful people that I have met in my lifetime. And I look upon here at our children, our special children. God bless all of them. And God bless our teachers who work day in and day out to make their lives better. I thank you for what you have done. You are true American heroes. You know, like we stand up here and we look at this piece of steel. It's twisted, it's bent, it was beaten, it was burned. Can you imagine the intense heat it took to melt steel like that? Well, hatred can be just as devastating. We have to get hatred out of our lives. Let's bring back the word respect. Let's learn to like one another, love one another, work with one another, be with one another, because that's what it's going to take. And in the end, we will have a better America and a better America to share with our greatest asset, and that being our children. Thank you for having me this morning, and God bless all of you. On behalf of my Senate district here, I wanted to present this to you, Mr. Judge, in recognition of the Freedom Flag program at Broadmoor School. It's been my honor to participate in this program today and knowing what this school does to so many families. Thank you.
Thank you, Kenneth, and I will certainly see that it is passed along to those appropriate individuals. And now, our other state senator will be joining us, Senator Jerry Sarina.
Thank you, Judge. It's good morning, and it's a pleasure to be here with everyone today. I really would like to echo what Senator Yuko mentioned here, because one of my fondest recollections, or I should say most momentous recollections of that whole week or two immediately at and following the 9/11 tragedy was when President Bush addressed the joint session of Congress and brought our nation together. And at the end of his speech in the House of Representatives, he was leaving the podium and walking down, and I don't know how many of you might remember this, but who did he embrace? He embraced Senator Tom Daschle, who was the majority leader of the Senate at that time, in one of the most outstanding bipartisan events that I have seen in my time of paying attention to these things. And I think, as Senator Yuko indicated, that this is a great example of how we need to come together as a nation. We may have disagreements on many things, but we should agree on the fundamentals of the freedom that we offer. Because we have to remember why 9/11 happened in the first place. We were a target. We were targeted. And ask yourself, why were we targeted for such a heinous event? So destructive and motivated by so much hatred. And we were the targets because the United States of America is truly the greatest beacon of human freedom that this world has ever seen. We are not without flaws. One of our great songs talks about asking God to mend our every flaw. So we are not a perfect nation. We have flaws and will continue to have flaws. But we are still the greatest beacon of human freedom that the world has ever seen. And we should never forget that, and we should forever be proud of that. I'd also lastly like to congratulate the Board of Developmental Disabilities in Broadmoor for being the recipients of this great honor today. And I'm so delighted and privileged, as my colleagues are, to be here to participate with you in this great honor. So congratulations, and thank you for allowing us to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Now our state representative who has a few comments for us, Jamie Callender.
Today we're here to remember an event that in many of our lives was really momentous in shaping who we are and shaping who we are as a society. The previous speakers spoke of how it pulled us together as Americans and how it had been fostered by hatred and bitterness towards us and our ways. Unfortunately, we are moving towards another era of dissension, and it is within our own ranks. And I hope that the anniversary this last weekend and events like this, and thank you, Alfie and Linda, Judge. Is it still Judge or Larry?
Judge Larry.
Judge Larry. As an attorney, I'm used to getting dressed down from him. I still remember those days. It is great that these leaders of our community are having this celebration today. It is incredible, of all the schools in Ohio, that Broadmoor was chosen for this honor. But let it not go without looking at what we are doing to ourselves. Social media, division, bitterness, and hatred right here in Ohio. As a politician, I know the five of us that are speaking every day read the negatives. We need to be reminded of who we were on September 12th. We need to be reminded that we're Americans first, that we're humans first, and that we need to respect one another, respect this great nation and our founders and our forefathers and our leaders that are continuing that tradition. So let's take this opportunity to remember that. Let's take this opportunity to rededicate ourselves to being good people, to being good citizens, good family members, and for those of us that are leaders, a reminder to be good stewards of the trust that the voters and the communities have put in us. So thank you, Alfie, Linda, Larry, for this opportunity.
Thank you, Jamie. Now I'd like to introduce to you a longtime friend, champion, and supporter of the Lake County DD and especially Broadmoor. My friend for a long time, State Representative Dan Troy.
Thank you, Judge. It's always an honor to be here at Broadmoor School. I've been here so many times for the graduations and had the honor of being the commencement speaker one year. And what a wonderful day. And you know, what it signifies is this Broadmoor School and our DD program is that in Lake County, we understand that every citizen's life matters, and certainly we go out of our way to make sure that every citizen has the fullest opportunity. So first of all, I want to thank Broadmoor School and the Freedom Flag Foundation for organizing this important event and for your commitment to ensuring today's youth understand the tragic events that occurred on September 11th, 2001. You know, those of us that were alive at the time all remember where we were on November 22nd, 1963, when our president was assassinated. And certainly those of us that were here in September 11th of 2001 all remember where we were that morning as a horrific series of events unraveled and really tested the will and the fiber of our country on that particular day. this was just not a tragedy for Americans. I think people need to realize that native or citizens of 78 different nations on our globe perished on that day as a result of the attacks on 9/11. As the other speakers have mentioned, as horrible as this event was, I guess there was one positive. It was the fact, as mentioned by Senator Yuko and Senator Sarina and Representative Callender, is that Americans were more united than we have ever seen them. It was the whole world was in sympathy with America, and Americans were united, and their resolve was to make sure that a day like September 11th, 2001 would never be forgotten. And as indicated, how have we gotten away from that in the last 20 years? I mean, the stuff that we are angrily arguing and fighting about, is really irrelevant compared to what united us on September 11th, 2001. So hopefully we can move from that. As we observe this 20th anniversary of the attacks now more than ever, it's critical that we remember the everlasting pain of the families and loved ones of the innocent Americans who passed that day. The truth is, it's easy to say we must never forget, and we all know that to be true, but really matters are the actions that are being taken to make sure that that statement becomes a reality. And I salute Broadmoor School and the Freedom Flag Foundation for making that happen today. That's why I'm so proud that our Broadmoor School right here in Lake County was chosen as Ohio's first and only Freedom Flag School Partner in 2021. What an honor. We should all recognize the mission of the Freedom Flag Foundation, because it can be a challenge in educating our youth about what happened on 9/11/2001. With many young people and all school children today, all age children today were born after 2001, keeping the memory of those who lost becomes more and more difficult every year. And that's why, in addition to the wonderful work being done by the Freedom Flag Foundation, we must all, as citizens, take responsibility as adults to ensure the young people in our lives are educated about what happened on that tragic day. Having said that, I want to thank the organizers and everyone in attendance for observing this important ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Our county official, president of our Lake County Commission, is joining us today, Commissioner John Havlicek.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you for joining us today. 9/11. The phrase is never forget. Well, let's talk about Broadmoor. An amazing but not surprising choice to receive this honor. Inclusion, diversity, respect. They exemplify that. As they educate their students, their caregivers, and their families, those are very powerful principles that they exemplify. As a father with young children on 9/11, my wife and I had the difficult task of explaining to our daughters, as best we could, what just happened. That difficult conversation still continues to this day. Not just for me, but for all who have young children. It's a very simple discussion, though, when you think about it. We encourage our children to live in a civil society. We've heard much said about civility, and that seems to be in short order and a rare commodity these days. But we talk about inclusion, appreciation of other cultures, and a degree of acceptance. And that is truly important. But we also have to respect the fact that the very cultures that we're asking our children to respect and come to appreciate, they are teaching their children to kill ours. That is a reality. But we have to avoid the trap of falling into stereotypes, the trap of falling into assuming that just because somebody looks different than we do, they're bad. We also have to avoid the other trap, the trap of just put it behind us. Let it go. That's why never forget is so important. And I dare say that's why the choice of Broadmoor was so important, because the principles that they so greatly exemplify truly will continue with the idea of never forget. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner, very much. Thank you to our elected officials who chose to join us today for their comments. I do want to take just a brief moment. We do have some other officials who are in the audience with us today. I recognize our County Auditor, Chris Galloway. Chris. And the County Treasurer, Mike Zern. And I would be remiss if I didn't recognize those individuals who work with me throughout the year, keeping things afloat and doing their best to make sure that days like today happen. May I have all of the board members who are in the audience please stand? Thank you, ladies. I do want to tell you that the board met throughout the entire period of the COVID, not by teleprompter, but in person, to make sure that we were able to keep our organization on the right track. For all of you here today, I want to express my appreciation to the elected officials who took time out of your schedules to speak. Thank you so very much, and I hope that today will help us all not to forget. Thank you.
Now to introduce a member of the American Legion Auxiliary, a dear friend of ours who has been a supporter of our developmental disabilities program here in Lake County for many years. Dolores Fratino will share a very special reading with us now.
Thank you, Alfie, for those kind words. Those twin towers, standing tall with pride, fell with grieving hearts. Stunned, America cried. But we're still standing. Bin Laden tried to crush our land, but we stood our ground with our flag in hand, and we're still standing. Red for valor and the blood that fell, white for purity our heroes tell, blue for the justice that will be done, proving once more these colors don't run, and we're still standing. Thank you.
An amazing poem written by a 7th grader who is learning that we won't forget. We will always remember. And now it's my honor to introduce our Children's Services Director and Broadmoor Principal, who was leading this stupendous group of students and educators in helping us all to learn the meaning of the freedom flag, Linda Derosa.
Hello everyone, thank you, and I'm honored that you're here with us today, and I am honored that Broadmoor School has been chosen to partner with the Freedom Flag Foundation and the World Trade Center Steel Educational Platform. Today it's really about our freedom and the meaning of the Freedom Flag, which we will be raising in a few minutes. Our students have practiced all through the week to help us put together a puzzle that will tell us the meaning of the freedom flag. The freedom flag is a message of remembrance, a lasting symbol that reminds generations to come that our freedom is a precious and fragile gift. In the days and weeks that followed the tragic events of 9/11, Richard Melita felt a powerful need to honor and remember the thousands of souls who perished on September 11th, the innocent victims and the brave heroes who sacrificed their lives for the sake of freedom. Today, our students are honored to recreate this flag in a wood puzzle that was made specifically for our students for this day by our own Mentor Rotary Club. At this time, we would like to show you and tell you what the Freedom Flag represents. Max. The bloodshed of the crew and passengers who perished on United Airlines Flight 93 in Pennsylvania. Thank you, Max. Carter. The rescue workers, firefighters, and police officers who worked tirelessly during and after the terrorist attacks. Thank you, Mary. Joshua. Joshua practiced all week for this. The bloodshed of the people who perished at the World Trade Center. Thank you, Joshua. Caden. The Port Authority employees who assisted in the aid and recovery at the World Trade Center. Thank you, Caden. Jeremy. The bloodshed of the people who perished on American Airlines Flight 11 and United Airlines Flight 175. Thank you, Jeremy. Jose. All others who refused to give up in their efforts to help others during and after the terrorist attacks. Thank you, Jose. Caleb. The bloodshed of those who perished at the Pentagon and the crew and passengers on American Flight 77. Thank you, Caleb. David. All Americans united for freedom. Thank you, David. Harper, Ryan, Carter, Adriana, and Sawyer. The Pentagon and the organized protection of our freedom. Ryan, Carter, Adriana, and Sawyer. And finally, Jonathan, all who lived and died for our freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, the freedom flag. And now for the raising of our flag, Jay McDonald, Navy veteran and Lake County Board Developmental Disabilities Operations Director, and Jim Trenton, Army veteran, American Legion Post 214, Color Guard Commander.
Just hold the flag. She's up there. Over here.
Like to bring to your attention the vase of 13 roses. They are in honor of the 13 servicemen and women that lost their lives in Afghanistan. As well, the piece of steel from the World Trade Center Tower 1 that represents 2,977 people who lost their lives in the tragic events on September 11th. At this time, we would ask everyone to bow their heads in a moment of silence.
Thank you, everybody. We will now have the presentation of the wreaths. Honoring our police force, Sergeant Michael Fedoric of Mentor Police Department. honoring our fire and rescue, Deputy Chief Robert Evans of Mentor Fire Department. And honoring our military armed forces and veterans, Chief Petty Officer Philip Johnson of the United States Navy. And can I ask any members of the audience that are military, are currently serving the military, veterans, or service first responders, can I have you either stand or raise your hand, please? Thank you, everybody. Thank you for all you do. God bless all of you. Linda Derosa, Broadmoor School Principal, will now come forward to offer some closing thoughts. Thank you. Thanks to all of you for attending our flag raising ceremony. We are honored that you were able to join us and privileged to be the first ever school partner and the only school in Ohio to participate in the Freedom Flag Foundation's National Freedom Flag and World Trade Center Steel Education Program. We promise to fully embrace this honor and to use this unique opportunity to teach our students about courage, bravery, hope, and freedom surrounding the events of September 11th. A special thank you to Ohio Senators Kenny Yuko and Jerry Sarina, State Representatives Jamie Callender and Dan Troy, Lake County Commissioner John Hamercheck, the Honorable Judge Larry Allen, our Superintendent Alfie Roman, and of course the American Legion Auxiliary Unit 234. A very special thank you goes out to Sue Fratino and Diana Warner, President and Treasurer of the American Legion Auxiliary 234, whose initial connection with the Freedom Flag Foundation made all of this possible. At this time, I would also like to acknowledge our amazing staff and students who participated in today's events, many of who are watching this event live from their classrooms right now. You truly exemplify bravery, courage, and fearlessness every day. The World Trade Center steel artifact from Tower 1 is on display for your viewing after today's events. The section of the World Trade Center steel formed a portion of the exterior column 206, which supported floors 92 through 95 on the east face of the World Trade Center, Tower 1. And finally, many of us have had a personal connection to the events of 9/11. Our own Shaun Gough lost his uncle, Colin MacArthur, at 52 years old in Tower 2 at the World Trade Center on September 11th, 2001. Colin was an insurance broker at Aon Corporation and left behind a wife and loving family. Shaun describes his uncle as a real family man who had a great sense of humor, loved computers, music, and traveling. So in conclusion to our ceremony, Shaun will be honoring his uncle and all those who perished on 9/11, playing Amazing Grace on the bagpipes.